So this is a hip and lower back flow, working through some movements to ease up the lower back and get the hips working nicely, usually the limiting factor. So we're starting here with some cat-cows, up and down to get things moving, and then we're going to take them in any kind of directions that feel good in this sort of position, just moving it around, top, bottom of the cat-cow, moving around in there. So we're starting to loosen things up, ease things around. Then we'll just come up to a kneeling position, sit back and carry on with those movements around. So we're working into the hips. We're going to get a nice bit of a quad stretch here as well. And we just keep working around. And then until we feel we've loosened things up a little bit. Up to about 30 seconds there. Then we're going to get into a nice 90-90 position. So we've got 90 degrees in the front ankle, 90 degrees in the knee, and then the following leg behind as well. We've got 90 degrees just about, and 90 degrees in the ankle as well. We're just going to sit in this position and have a move around again. And we're aiming to bring this up to quite tall as we can. And then a bit more advanced, we're going to aim to keep ourselves as tall as we can, and then do a little leg lift and push back. So it needs to slightly come off and push back there. And we're moving that leg backwards. Then we're going to lean forward. We want to lean forward from the hips. So lift the chest just a touch in this position. And then we're going to go back up, back down. And then we're going to move the back foot up. So we're rotating more at the knee. And this will feel a little bit different in the hip, some different muscles working there. We're swapping around to the other side, and we're going to repeat that process. So with each of the movements we've been doing, where we're moving around 5 to 10 movements, get in that position again, 90-90 position. And then when we have had a nice move around, I'm going to lift that back leg and push it back. Now this is a difficult move. You might not really be able to get much movement, but even just engaging the muscles that would work to lift the back leg is going to start to see some improvement in the hip function. And we're getting that lean forward, a little chest lift. I'm just doing 1 or 2 leans here. You can do some more leans. And using the breath as well. When we're in that bottom position, if we breathe in, breathe out, and go for an extra stretch, we're going to find because we've used our breath, because we've engaged the core with that, we can actually move that a little bit more. And then we've done the movements as well in that position. Then we're going to come round up to a downward dog. Keep the heels up to start with and work through the movements there. So just marching through each side, heel presses. Then find a position where we can get a nice stretch going down from the lower back all the way around over the glutes down into the hamstrings, and then have a little move around in that whole position. Then we're going to come through, pull one leg through into the pigeon stretch. And the foot doesn't need to be raised at the back, it's only up just because that's ready for another stretch coming up. Have a little move around in the pigeon stretch. You don't need to be lying the forearms right down. If you're more comfortable being more upright in your torso, that's absolutely fine as well. And then holding this 20 to 30 seconds, moving around, and then swapping that over. So pull that knee through, get in a comfortable position. Little rock side to side, slightly back and forth as well, keeping that movement going, and then settling into a nice little stretch as well. There we go. You can be up in this more upright position, whatever feels comfortable. And angle of your leg underneath your body, don't worry too much about that. Some people will be able to get the lower leg more across the mat. If it's more tucked underneath you, that's fine as well. Then we're going to go up to a couch stretch. So 1 foot up, 1 knee down, engage the glute. I like to just press it through, so we're actually tightening the glute as well. And then we're doing some overhead stretches So that's going to stretch up through the hip, the obliques, and get all those connective tissues down the side of the body all working together. 5 to 10 of those, and then we're doing some circles here, 5 to 10 each direction. Then we're going to swap sides and get that glute engaged, up and over, and that side stretch there. Again, 5 to 10 of these movements, and then circles in each direction. I like to put my thumb onto my hip just so I can feel the movement. Just gives that extra point of reference of actually how am I moving? Am I going in a circle? That can be quite difficult to get into, especially if we're just starting off. Hip flexors are tight, hips are tight, so we can do a kneeling version instead. So again, engage the glute, up and over with the side stretches, hip circles both ways, and then doing both sides with this one. And then finally, after all that movement, without any weight or tension on the body, we're just going to flop over with an aim of just allowing the back and the vertebrae just to arch over and drop down. Quite a nice one to do at the start as well, and then you can compare how much more mobility you've got at the end.